Hi, this is Ahmed Said. I am working as an IT manager and I am Egyptian. Today I will explain how to implement HP P2000 MSA storage with VMware vSphere 4.1 ESX or ESXi. First, this is my methodology to explain. First, I will explain what is my project devices and equipment. Number two, some concept to know about before we start. Number three, prepare the environment. Number four, deploy and configure the project component or the environment and test the environment. First thing, project devices and equipment. I have three things. First, I have one HP MA storage with 12 hard disk, 300 giga, 15K. Total capacity of this storage is 3.6 tera. To the end, it will be 2 tera from 1.8 to 2 tera usable space. I will make two type of RAID on this storage, RAID 5 and RAID 10, and I will have two spare hearts. Number two, I have two Cisco 224 network switch, small business edition, 24 port. Number three, I have three server, DL380 G7 server, a two CPU, 6 core, 32 gig of RAM, two hard disk. This I will install ESX and ESXi 4.1 on these servers. Okay, I will show picture for project equipment. Here the rack in front and back. I have three DL380 and I have the MSA iSCSI. At the back of every server I have four network cards. Here I am giving only explaining about three, because one for the VM and two for the iSCSI network, and I will explain why two. And the storage is the same. It have two storage processors. The storage processor, this is look like the storage processor. I have two storage processor, number one, number two. The first port in first storage processor called A1. The second port in the first storage processor called A2. Inside the when we start to configure, we will find this definition. The second storage I have B1 and B2 for the first two network. Also I have two network switches, and every network switch it will maintain subnet. This subnet 1 and this subnet 2, and this 2 is different from my VM subnet, which is connected to the physical environment. First, in every server I have two network cards connected to the iSCSI network. First is connected to the subnet 1 and second card is connected to the subnet 2. Subnet 1 is it will be look like 10.0.0.x, and subnet 2 10.0.1.x. From next server also one go to the subnet 1 and one go to subnet 2. Also in 3 is the same. In the storage processor, like what I explained now, I have two storage processor. Every storage processor I will use two network from these two. First network going to subnet 1 and second network going to subnet 2 in the storage processor 1, and the same happened on the storage processor 2. This is the project, my project component. Okay, this is come back. Second, some concept to know about. First, some global knowledge. What is SIM? Storage area network is high performance shared storage between many hosts. This host may be Windows, maybe Linux, ESX in our case, to support availability of servers and applications. Number two, iSCSI. iSCSI module component or iSCSI component. The iSCSI containing of three things. First, iSCSI initiator. Second, media. Third is iSCSI target. Also, I have picture here to explain the storage iSCSI component. This is the first one, iSCSI initiator. It's built in on server or a card put in server. Media is the TCP/IP network. and iSCSI target with a storage system in our case is P2000. If you see this here to switch to support multipathing, multipathing is very important to us because if the storage is availability, it's uh, very critical to ESX or vSphere. If something happened for the equipment, for one network card, for one switch, for any reason, still you have another one. You can still do your work with the storage, and everything will still fine until you solve other problem, and then the two link will come. Okay. Number two, some concept from HB. HB, I have something called VDisk. What is VDisk? Like what we talk now, the storage have 12 hard disks. First layer after this hard disk is called vdisk. Vdisk is collection of hard disk of physical hard disks with one type of RAID. If we see here, I make this six hard disk. This is a 12 hard disk. For first six, I make vdisk 1, and this is RAID 5. And for 4 disk again, I make vdisk 2. This is RAID 10, and I have two spare disks. In every disk you create volumes. Volumes is local logical representation, which we will talk in next one, is volume. Volume is logical representation of the disks that will be appear to the host. Here, this is the LAN or volumes. It will appear to the host. Number three, hosts. What is host? Host is the system which will see the storage volume to use it. Windows or Linux. In our case, is ESX. Number four is management network interface. What is management network interface? Is network port to configure the storage. Why? Why I need network port to configure the storage? Because the storage concept is different than servers. Servers, you need to install something operating system on this one, and you need to put monitor. You have monitor port. You have keyboard and mouse. You can interact with the server. But here in the storage, no, you don't have this ability because you don't have OS on the storage. Only you have something to configure the storage and connect all things together, vdisks, anything you will do. But this all can do it by two ways. First way is by management network interface, and second by write command, shell command in VCLI. You have to connect this cable for this one from any client and start to use this. Number five, spare hearts. For any reason, if you have one hard or two or whatever damage in your system, in your storage, then you need to replace it with a new hard. This is normally it will take time, but if you have spare, it will direct take care about this one, and it will take responsibility from the bad hard, and then until you get a new hard, it's working fine, and then the new hard, when you get it, you will put it as a spare. We have to also explanation of this normal for every type of RAID. You can select your spare, or you can select a global spare for the whole storage. Okay. Another some concepts about VMware vSphere 4. First is VMFS. What is this? What is VMFS? VMFS is file system, virtual machine file system. VMware creates this virtual machine file system. It's look like NTFS of Windows. It's Windows create, Microsoft creates this NTFS, and also VMware creates this VMFS. Some benefit of this file system. First, it's a VMware company cluster file system. It's used by VMware ESX. Number two, it's developed and used to store virtual machine disks images. Number three is multi-server can read and write the same file system in the same time. Number two, something explanation of SCSI initiator. If you see In SCSI initiator, we talk about we have software or hardware and something called HBA with host bus adapter. What is this? We have two types of iSCSI initiator. First one is software iSCSI initiator. Software iSCSI initiator is a part of VM kernel. It allows hosts to connect to iSCSI storage through standard network adapter. Second, hardware initiator have two types. First type called dependent. Dependent hardware iSCSI initiator. It's still depending on VMware networking. It's use some iSCSI configuration and management from the VM kernel. Independent is completely separate card, implement its own networking and iSCSI configuration and management. Okay. Next, how virtual machine access data on SAN. This is in iSCSI document, and also I make presentation for this to explain how the VM access data on SAN. First, I have VM here. Okay, the VM I have disk file in the storage. I have two ESX here and the storage here. This is the VM. Inside the VM there is VM guest OS and this is device driver and SCSI controller. We define all this in beginning. And I have here VM kernel. The VM kernel containing many parts: device driver, virtual TCP/IP stack, software iSCSI initiator. Here the two network cards connected or more connected to the iSCSI storage and the ESX through TCP/IP network. This is our equipment here. First, the VM guest, he need to write something in his disk, read or write something to his disk in storage. What is the steps he take or what happening until he read or write to the disk? What is the meaning of read or write? You are opening your virtual machine and you need to write something in Word, in Excel, anything you need it. Then it takes these steps to do this. First step, guest OS issue a SCSI command to the virtual disk. Okay. Second, the guest OS hire device driver to communicate with the SCSI controller. This device driver communicate with the SCSI controller, and then the SCSI controller forwards the command to the VM kernel, and then the VM kernel do some step. First step is to locate the VMDK file of the virtual machine inside the VMFS partition. Number two, it's map corresponding block in virtual disk to a physical device like what you see here, the VM. Here he need to write this block. This block, where is the corresponding on the hardware itself? Number three, it's the device driver in the VM kernel sends the modified I/O request to the software iSCSI initiator. Software iSCSI initiator also do some steps. First step, the iSCSI initiator encapsulate I/O request into iSCSI PDU. What is this PDU? PDU is the smallest information of iSCSI protocol. Then he send this to the, he make encapsulating to this one, and then he send it to the VM kernel TCP/IP stack on the VM kernel, and then the TCP/IP stack send the relay the TCP packet to the physical NIC, and then the physical NIC sends the IP packet over the Ethernet to the iSCSI storage system. This is how VM access data on SAN storage. Okay, I will stop here and I will complete in another field.